Hello everyone and welcome to this trip report. Today we are flying with Qatar Airways in economy class from Geneva to Doha on the Airbus A350 and then connecting on a flight to Kuala Lumpur on the Boeing 777. So let's see how well Qatar Airways performs in terms of service as well as the onboard product. So join me as we travel together with Qatar Airways. Welcome to Geneva Airport in Switzerland, where this journey begins. Now, to give you some context before we step on board, Qatar Airways was named the Airline of the Year by Skytrax for the 8th time. Now, I know that Skytrax is a bit of a controversial organization, however, this is still an impressive title to hold. Qatar Airways often gets a lot of attention for their business class. However, at least in my opinion, a good airline must also have a good economy class product in order to be considered as one of the best. So let's see how Qatar Airways economy class is these days, considering that the last time I've flown with the airline was in 2017. Earlier this year, I also flew Emirates economy class from Dubai to Geneva, so it will be interesting to see how Qatar Airways compares to Emirates, which is probably its biggest competitor. Welcome on board this slightly older but still beautiful Qatar Airways Airbus A350-900. The seats featured a remote control, a foldable tray table, a rather soft pillow, a very comfortable blanket, and a pair of headphones, which weren't the best, honestly. However, the quality of the sound was actually surprisingly good. As an aviation enthusiast, I really appreciated the fact that there were 3 different cameras on board this Qatar Airways Airbus A350. Not long after departure, the flight attendants started the service with a pack of sour cream and chives, pretzels, and a beverage of your choice. However, both the pretzels and the mango juice had a very artificial taste for some reason. Afterwards, the hot meals were served, and I pre-ordered an Asian vegetarian meal. And on Qatar Airways, unlike on many other airlines, the special meals are actually served at the same time like the regular meals. Overall, this was a meal I enjoyed. The food tasted good, and Qatar Airways provides metal cutlery in economy class, which is a very nice touch. Even though the meal looks tiny, the portions are actually bigger than it looks. Now let's talk about the famous Qatar Airways Oryx One in-flight entertainment. First of all, the system is intuitive and easy to use. The quality of the image was very decent. There is a wide selection of viewing and listening options, although I was a bit disappointed with the movies as I couldn't find some of the most popular movies and series. On the positive side, the music selection was truly impressive. You can also create your own list of content to watch and listen to, which is a very nice touch. So overall, this is still an above average in-flight entertainment system. The pre-arrival service consisted of a selection of snacks. However, funny enough, the flight attendant who was serving me just gave me a pack of popcorn without allowing me to choose the snack I wanted to have. And because I was a bit surprised, I didn't really have the chance to say anything, but that's alright, I'm not complaining. The lavatories on the Qatar Airways A350 are very nice and spacious and were kept clean throughout the flight. It wasn't long before we started our descent into Doha. This was a very enjoyable flight. Also, this older seat, which was initially installed on the A350-900 and the A380, is the most comfortable economy class seat that I've ever flown in. Our aircraft was parked at a remote gate, and then we had to spend a good 20 minutes in a crowded bus to get to the terminal. Unfortunately, this is quite common at Doha Hamad Airport nowadays. Nonetheless, Doha Hamad International Airport was still voted as the world's best airport by Skytrax in 2021, 22, and 24, as well as the best airport in the Middle East for 10 consecutive years. Indeed, I do have to say that Doha Hamad is one of my favorite airports in the world. Except for the inconvenience of having bus gates, it is a very efficient, modern, and clean airport. Even during the busiest periods of the day or night, you only need about 15 to 20 minutes to go through security. There are excellent shopping and dining options, although it is quite expensive. Finally, I like the fact that it's a very silent and relaxing airport despite being so busy. Do not underestimate the size of the terminal building, even though there is a shuttle train. Also, please be aware of the fact that Qatar Airways typically starts boarding for their flights already about 60 minutes before departure. So welcome on board this second flight to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, operated by a Boeing 777-300ER. As you can see, this is an older seat type and it honestly looks quite outdated. Once again, waiting at my seat were a very comfortable blanket and a decently sized pillow. There was a foldable tray table and a remote control for the in-flight entertainment screen. It is worth mentioning that Qatar Airways has installed newer in-flight entertainment screens on some of their Boeing 777s. Considering our 2:50 a.m. departure time, there was also an amenity kit, which is rare in economy class nowadays, and I highly appreciate that. Right after takeoff, there was a rather big and soft sandwich that was served, although it was quite difficult to eat considering that no cutlery was provided. For breakfast, I once again had the Asian vegetarian meal, and I have to say that this was a very tasty meal. However, a small objection I have is that this meal was served almost 3 hours before landing, which meant that I didn't get a lot of sleep on this 7-hour flight. The amenity kit contained all the essentials you need for a red-eye flight. As we were approaching Kuala Lumpur, you could see cumulonimbus clouds or storm clouds. This is not uncommon in Kuala Lumpur, which often experiences rainstorms. Welcome to Kuala Lumpur International Airport, commonly referred to as KLIA in Malaysia. We were taxiing to KLIA-1, the satellite terminal. I am now going to give my opinion of Qatar Airways. Overall, I had an enjoyable and smooth travel experience. The in-flight entertainment is good. The service was efficient and somewhat friendly. The food was definitely above average. However, I do have to say that the seat on my first flight was much more comfortable than the seat on my second flight. In fact, you have to be aware of the fact that Qatar Airways has various seat types across their diverse fleet of aircraft. On the one hand, Qatar Airways has very modern Airbus A350s and Boeing 787 Dreamliners. On the other hand, you could also end up on a much older A330 or A320 depending on where you're flying. If I have to be honest, I would say that Emirates offers a slightly better economy class product overall. Nevertheless, there are certain compelling reasons to choose Qatar Airways, such as their often more competitive fares when compared to Emirates, the excellent transit experience at Doha Hamad International Airport, the fact that I find the airline to be very punctual in general, and the consistent service that they offer. Thank you for watching. I hope that you found this video to be helpful and entertaining. Please make sure to give me a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.